And welcome back to the Women on Amazon podcast. This is episode 43, and any show notes or links will be either below the video if you're watching on YouTube or in the show notes on womenonamazon.com/43 for this episode. And I'm thrilled to be joined today with someone I haven't seen for a number of years, but we used to catch up quite regularly, Mr. Jeff Charlton. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So Jeff, we used to be part of a mastermind group, and I wanted to reach out to you because you have, as well as an Amazon business, you have another business which I think is really interesting, and that could be for some people a really good opportunity for Amazon sellers, which is a little bit old-fashioned. But all things come round full circle. So, firstly, tell me a little bit about your experience on Amazon before we talk about your other business.
Well, I have a printing company. The name of the company is Graphic Connections Group, and we've been in the business. This company's 28 years old, and I've personally been in the business over 30 years. And I've always been an entrepreneur, so printing's always been my main focus. However, I'm a kind of guy that's always looking for other stuff too.
Yep.
And I came across Amazon. I don't remember if it was 2012 or 2014, but somewhere in that time frame. And I had a friend of mine who was doing really well, and so he got me into it. And so I got excited about it, and I got into selling pillows on Amazon.
Selling pills.
Pillows, not pills. Pillows.
Pillows.
Bed pillows.
Oh, bed pillows. Okay.
Yeah, and I came out of the gate like a rocket. It's kind of a funny story. My buddy, he said, he was doing really well. And he says, you got to do this, and I was sort of blowing him off because we had done various business deals over the years and none of them really worked out all that good. So he came along with this and I thought, it's just another scam. I don't want to do it. And so, but I talked to him. He lived in another state. So I talked to him maybe once a quarter. And every time I talked to him, I'd say, hey, how's your Amazon business going? And usually we're doing okay. But then all of a sudden I talked to him one time and he says, we're killing it. And I said, what do you mean by killing it? What's that mean? He goes, I just did 600,000. Wow. And I said, what do you mean 600,000? What unit? What? And what time frame? He goes, last month, I said, what? 600,000 last month. Prior to that, he was doing like 30,000 a month.
Right.
So what? Something's wrong. That can't be right. So anyway, long story short, he got my attention. He told me the story, got my attention. And I said, all right, you got my attention. I'll try this thing out. But I don't want to go to all these different seminars and everything. I don't have time for that. I just want you to give me the straight scoop and get me going, and I'll pay you a cut of the action and get me going. So that's a deal we made. And long story short, he comes to me about a month later. This is going into Christmas.
Yep.
He said, I got a deal you can't pass up. I got a guy that's got inventory of pillows in the United States ready to go right now. He's got a warehouse full of these things, and you can be in Amazon in time for Christmas. And this is like October.
Right.
And I hadn't done anything. I didn't even set up my account yet or anything. And I said, well, okay, great, let's do it. And he goes, but the caveat is this guy requires, you got to buy the whole lot. You can't just, you can't just buy a little bit. And it was $75,000.
That's
so you got to be in for 75,000. I was thinking
decent investment for your first buy.
Something like that. 75,000, you kidding me? What? So I said, all right, Roy, I'm totally trusting you on this thing, so I'll do it. So I plunked down $75,000, some guy I never heard of,
right,
to buy these pillows I've never even seen. And Roy handles it. We shipped them to Amazon, and we sold them out between then and Christmas. We completely sold them out. And the guy was a one-time deal, so he didn't even have any more.
Right.
But it got me hooked. So I think we made like $100,000 in profit in 3 months, doing absolutely nothing. So I thought, wow, this is like taking candy from a baby. I'm going to keep doing this,
Yeah.
So then I got that was a one-time product. So we got into all kinds of stuff, and it's okay. I'm still in it. I'm not getting rich, but we have a viable business. I have a warehouse full of stuff. And I actually have, in my printing company, I have 15,000 square feet. So I have about 5,000 of that's Amazon storage that I have right here with me. And I've got about 20 products on Amazon right now. And we do okay. I'm not getting rich, but it's worth doing. I got a guy that works for me that handles the whole thing. I don't do really anything other than kind of give him some direction every once in a while.
Right. So it's right. So you've got a staff member
Yeah.
that pretty much.
Yeah. And it's not, I'm not doing the overseas stuff, and I don't have VAs and all that. It's a guy in my office in America,
Mhm.
running the business for me. And it's just him and I, and that's it. So,
Yeah. Fair enough.
it's,
And
it's been
do you
good.
source in the US mostly all your products, or do you import?
It's mostly China, except for we just bought a new product recently that I'm excited about that's sourced in the US. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but it's a product that gets used up. All
Right.
my other products are one-time purchases.
Right.
And I wanted to get a product that gets used up.
That's used up, yeah.
Because that fits into my direct mail business too, and all that stuff. So we actually bought a brand of some personal products that had a pretty good reputation. They got a trademark and everything. So I'm excited about that. We're just getting it started, but it's so far it's going really well. And I haven't really done, I just kind of took over what the guy was doing. So I'm excited. We're about ready to kick off a pay-per-click campaign, and I hired a marketing agency to do some actual Google pay-per-click marketing. And knock on wood, I think I have high hopes.
Good.
This. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what it's like to be an Amazon seller. And
Yes.
last time we met a couple of years ago, you were talking about using direct mail and postcard campaigns for Amazon sellers. So, with everything going, very high tech these days, I thought let's take a look at the other end of the spectrum and go back a little bit old fashioned. How could an Amazon seller use a traditional postcards, mail? What are the options available?
Well, first of all, it's not, direct mail is not for everything.
Yes.
The basic concept in direct mail is, let me back up for a minute.
Yep.
In the Amazon world, most people are attracted to the digital aspect of sit at home in front of your computer and press buttons, and the magic happens and the money flows in.
Yep.
And most of the people I found, at least when I was going to the conferences and everything, prior to Amazon, a lot of people were in they're in the website business. They were doing SEO and websites and everything.
Yep.
There's a lot of computer programming people. And when Google changed all the rules in SEO, and by the way, I was involved with that movement too.
Yeah.
I was
me
doing
too.
really well until the Google Panda change and destroyed my business.
Yep.
Me too. Yeah, I just got out, but a lot of people got into Amazon.
Yep.
And I've found over the years, most people, they're attracted to digital things, whatever it might be, whether it's Facebook advertising or pay-per-click or SEO or whatever, Amazon in general is a digital thing. So when I hear direct mail and you got to put thing in, paper and ink in mailboxes, and that costs money, they don't usually think that sounds good. But it does make sense in certain situations. So where it makes sense is if you have, direct mail does cost more than most digital marketing. It certainly costs more than free SEO.
Yes.
Because you have to buy postage and paper and ink and all that, and pay somebody like me to do the mail.
Yep.
And excuse me. There has to be a return on investment. So you have to have a product that's either got a high ticket item for the product or on a one-time purchase, or something that gets used up and reordered. Or a third thing is you have a line of products where let's say you have a brand of, I don't know, let's say it's women's makeup.
Yep.
And they bought one thing from you and you want to sell them the rest of your 20 things.
Right.
And it would make sense because you're building a customer.
Yes.
And you want that customer to come back to you to buy other things.
Yes.
That's where it makes sense. It doesn't make sense if you're selling an item where you make $10 per unit and it's a one-time
if you're selling
purchase,
garlic press,
you'll never make money in direct mail doing that. So you might as well not even try. Okay.
Gotcha.
If you make $100 per purchase, that's a different story. Okay. So that depends.
Yes. So what you're saying is if you've got a product that's got some margin, or you've got a range of products, or you've got a consumable that people might want to buy over and over again, then you've got your value of your customer makes it worthwhile to invest in some kind of a direct mail campaign. So I've always been a big fan. When everybody goes zig, I try and go zag. So everybody's, I've got a training program that I've put up, for chatbots, using chatbots. So that's very high tech. However, from a customer point of view, some customers really like a high touch, low tech approach, right?
Right. A good example of an appropriate use of direct mail is I take a lot of vitamins and
Mm-hmm.
supplements, and there's a company named Purity Products in America that's a big company, and they have a whole catalog of a whole bunch of
Yep.
stuff. And they send me a physical catalog on a regular basis. I probably get one once a quarter at least,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little small booklet, maybe 50 pages,
Yep.
in the mail. But they also have a telemarketing guy that calls me on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And they also email me, and they have a website, and they have all kinds of digital stuff they do too.
Mm.
And they don't sell on Amazon. They're outside of Amazon, but the concept is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they obviously can justify all that cost because, number one, supplements are very profitable and they get used up, and they have a whole bunch of different supplements.
Yep.
And people that tend to buy one supplement will often buy other supplements. So that is a perfect example of a product that's appropriate for direct mail.
Right. Okay. So we're coming up to Q4. Let's say I've got a customer list, and I'll get to that in a minute and how to get a customer list, because it's not as easy as it once was, but it is still possible to download your customer data on Amazon. So let's say I come to you and say, okay, coming up to Q4, I'd like to do a promotion for my customers. What would you recommend?
Well, obviously, Christmas is the big holiday. So, some sort of a sale, just like you would do on Amazon, where you might do, any kind of a sale or Black Friday sale or whatever it might be. The same thing. Decide. And again, all the stuff I said earlier still is in play.
Of
Right?
course.
You have to has to make sense where there's enough money coming back to you when you make a sale. But I would absolutely have a holiday special of some sort. And whether they call it Christmas or Thanksgiving, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Whatever you want to. Yep.
Some kind of special. All right. And I would offer a discount of some sort that's appropriate for your particular product. And you know what that will be, given your market and what your competitors do. And you got to get it out. One thing about direct mail, you have to think about the mailing time. It's not instant.
Of course.
So you have to allow for the mailing time. Now, in the postcard world, if you do small postcards, there are different sizes of postcards. I've got some right here. You've got, so this here is a small postcard.
Yep.
And that will mail in America for full first class, 35-cent stamp. But if you do it through me, we can do what's called first class pre-sort, and that mails for about 27 cents a piece. Right. And the postcard, it all depends on volume, what the printing cost is. But something like this, you can be in the mail. Let's say you want to mail 5,000 for probably 40 cents all in. Right. That's my service. That's postage, printing. It's everything.
Printing.
Full color, everything. Okay.
Full color, everything. Okay. So
that'll get there quickly. This will go the fastest possible. That'll get anywhere in America. We're right in the middle of America in St. Louis. So it gets anywhere in the country within 5 days max. Right. And anywhere from 1 to 5 days. Okay. So you go something bigger like this. This is twice the size of that. It's also a postcard.
Yep.
You can mail that first class, but the postage goes up by 15 cents if you do that. So, or you can mail it what they call standard or marketing mail. And that's also about 27 to 29 cents a piece. But it takes longer. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get there. Okay. So if you want to do this, or a catalog, a printed catalog, that all falls in the same postage as this. You got to just back up and say, well, if I want it to arrive no later than, say, Thanksgiving, I need to mail it by November 1st to make sure it gets there. If you use standard mail, or if you use first class mail, you can maybe wait till the 15th of the month.
Yeah. And the technology that's available now, if I remember rightly, you can do a dear Stacy, dear John, dear, you do the personal as well as the address on one side. Can you customize the letter on the other side, on the
everything's
side?
Totally personalized. We can do postcards or letters, like this little postcard. It's hard to see on the internet, but that is a handwritten font. It looks like somebody sat down and wrote a note, but it's all computerized. Right. And it's personalized on both sides. So we can do all
so you can really personalize it.
Whatever.
Okay. So you can really personalize it, saying, hey, Stacey, thank you for being a customer of ours. With Christmas coming, we'd like to give you a 30% discount code. Please, and you could either give the code actually on the card.
Absolutely, yes.
Could you do a unique code on the card, or would it have to be a group?
It's all based on a mailing list. So you give me, the way mail works is you go to Amazon, you download the list out of Amazon, and we just proved before we started this call, you can do that. For
Yeah,
the
and
last
I'll
30
talk about that in a
days,
second. Yep.
you can get your customer records, and then you can put that in an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file, and then add a column or two or whatever you want to add to that, and we'll print anything that's in that database.
Right, so
Doesn't
you can
matter to
actually
us.
print. You can print a unique coupon code, or the other option would be you could get them to join up to an email list. You could say, email us and we'll email you a coupon code if you want to add an extra layer of complexity.
And we have a unique technology that nobody has in the United States, by the way. This is proprietary to us.
Right.
And I just thought of it as you said that, because this is appropriate for Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
We can put a unique text code on the mail piece where it says text ABC to 123.
Right.
And when you do that, they instantly get a response back with a URL link and any verbiage you want it to say. And that link can then go to, say, a landing page with some sort of an offer, or it could go directly to your Amazon order page, mm-hmm. or whatever you want. That's completely proprietary because it's unique to every name on the list. So every name on the list has its own unique code. Like you could send them to a Pearl if you wanted, if you had the ability to do that, or whatever.
Right.
And we're the only ones that have that technology to do that.
So what you're saying is, on the postcard, you can say, "Hey, Stacey, Christmas is coming. We'd like to offer you a discount code. Text this number to get your code."
Yes. And what's really cool about that is people like to text. We have found that there's a much better take-up rate if someone texts you than if you put a URL on there.
Or you can put a QR code.
Yes, QR codes are not so great.
No, okay.
I would stay away from QR codes, frankly. They don't work that well. I mean, the technology works, but the people don't respond to
People don't like them, yeah.
No, they just
I think in
texting
Asia,
work. Texting or phone numbers are the two best ways to get people to respond.
Right.
What's cool about texting is when you do that, you can tie digital into it with the texting. That's what's cool about it.
Right. So they would text, and then they'd get a unique URL code that you could send them to anywhere. You could send them to a chatbot. You could send them to an email list. You could send them to
anything. Yes.
So you could put in. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. You could send them a unique coupon code, and when they text, you could send them with a super URL to your Amazon listing, right?
Yes, that's what I mean. And that URL could be, if you can do that, could be personalized to them for some way if you needed to do that, or not.
Or you could just do a rotator. You could do sort of like a Pixelfy Me URL rotator. So everybody goes to the same link, but once they get there, they get directed to any one of a number of different URLs.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, it's awesome. Pretty cool. And, it's the other thing about this, and I don't know if too many Amazon people do this, but we sell a lot of mail to real estate investors, mm-hmm. and those people do everything on the phone. Yep. So when they text, you have captured their actual cell number, and you get that information. Because what also happens, the minute they text, you get an email telling you they texted with all their information, their name, address, and everything. So if you wanted to call them and say, "Hey, I saw you went to my website," you could do that. Now, I don't know if people on Amazon do that.
Well, again, there's a lot of things that people on Amazon don't do, and there's no reason why they can't. So in theory, if you capture the people's telephone numbers, there's nothing to say that further down the track, you can't then text them. And there are services around that you can actually text people with your next offer.
Key is it's totally legal too, because texting in the United States, it's illegal to text somebody without explicit permission.
Right.
This system, they give you permission when they send you because by sending the text in, they're giving you permission.
They're giving you
completely legal to respond to them by text.
Yeah, I actually way back in 2015, when Amazon was still publishing people's telephone numbers, I was actually texting people because I in my old retail business, I used to text my customers all the time. So I thought, well, let's do it for Amazon. And I actually not quite got wrapped over the knuckles, but some of the customers were not that thrilled to be getting texts from me. A lot more.
The world's changed a lot, but it is there's as all technology, it gets abused.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people abusing texting right now with all these automated texting systems.
Yep.
So the lawyers are cracking down on it now.
So you got to be careful. I mean, I'd be more comfortable sort of finding a way to route them through to get their email address
Yeah,
for future, or even get them onto a chatbot list or something. But again, it's different touch points to the customer, right? The more touch points we have, whether it's email, text, chatbot, or personal mail, the more we're in front of mind of them, right? But again, if you're
absolutely.
selling a single product that's a garlic press that they bought from you, they may not want another garlic press
Right.
for Christmas. So this really makes sense for brands that've got different
And
products.
it's
Or
relationship building is what it is. And that's what ultimately business, if you're trying to build a brand,
yep,
especially again, if you have things that get reordered, that's the key.
yep,
Because if it never gets reordered, so yeah, everything's got a brand loyalty to some degree, but if it's a one-time purchase, then you're
yeah,
not going to get
it's
a whole
hard.
lot out of working that brand, you know?
Absolutely. Well, I'm
Yeah.
I'm sort of definitely going to get onto this now. Um, for those that have been on Amazon for a while and perhaps subscribed to some service, I know through Managed by Stats, I have customer data going back a number of years, in fact, right from 2015. However, a little while ago, I think sometime in the last 12 months, Amazon has shut down the API of external services being able to get customers' data. However, before we got on this call, we actually were able to figure out how you can still manually download your customer data. However, it is limited to the last 30 days. So if this is something that you want to do, even if you don't want to do it now, I highly recommend that, let's say on the first of every month or the last day of the month, you just automatically diarize to download your customer data. And I'll make a little separate video on how to do that I'll put underneath this video or on the show notes to this episode on how to do it. It's pretty simple. And what that data will give you is all of your customers for the last 30 days, including their full shipping addresses. So if you do want to take advantage of some kind of postcard or letter or direct mail campaign, you have the ability to do that. And I think it's an awesome opportunity.
It's also, aside from that, it's a good idea to do that anyway, no matter what business you're in, because if you ever want to sell your Amazon business, if you don't do that, you don't have a customer database.
Yep.
You don't really have anything. I mean, you have your Amazon stuff, but Amazon totally controls your life.
Yes.
The more you can own what you've sold, the better. So to have that data adds value to your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Okay. So just to uh, absolute minimum. If I'm like a small seller and I want to do a promotion in terms of using a service like yours, a mailing house, what is the minimum number of postcards I could send
Well,
to make it worthwhile?
to make it worthwhile, I wouldn't honestly do anything less than 1,000.
1,000. Mm-hmm.
But honestly, everything's relative. But
Of course.
in the Amazon world, if you're trying in the direct mail world, a phenomenal response to something is 5%.
Right.
So if you mail 1,000 pieces, 5% is 50.
Right.
So, and that's phenomenal. It's more realistic to get somewhere between 1% and 3% in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do the math and say, okay, if I spend like 1,000 postcards, again, there's a million variables, but if you mail 1,000 of these small postcards,
Yep.
that cost you probably $400.
Right.
So, if you sold 50 units of something or got 50 people to sign up for the auto ship, would you make more than $400? That's the basic math,
Yep.
But the people that we've done this in the past, they're usually doing way more than that. The people that I've done this with successfully, they would on a monthly basis download their list out of Amazon, and we would mail something to all their customers that just purchased in the last month. And then they would, around the holidays, do a larger mailing to the entire database or maybe a portion of it with some sort of a special.
Yeah, of course, you could also use this as part of your review gathering strategy as well. If you were doing it on a monthly basis, you could do something, that way as well with the text, right?
Right. And that is another, speaking of that is a good way to use it. That's not necessarily profitable, but it does help. We have tested this, by the way.
Oh, tell me.
You will get more reviews if you mail someone something and ask for it. So if you're trying to roll out a new product, that is a very good way to try to get more reviews. And it's totally legal.
Yeah. Oh, of course. So tell me. So
Yeah.
so you've tested this, or you've had customers test this. Tell me how
Yeah, we
that's
have.
worked.
That's it. And it's hard to measure because you don't know exactly when you get a review, you don't know
Hmm.
exactly where it came from. However, we've had people do it with, they rolled out one product without doing anything like this. And they rolled out a product with it. And the one that they did the mail with got more reviews
Right.
by a
And
pretty
so what
significant.
what sort of thing do they say on the postcard?
Just ask, it's a thank you for your order.
Hmm.
We hope you're happy. And if you're happy, we sure would love it if you'd go to our website and do a review. And then they direct them some way easily to make that happen.
Yep.
Some guys had, again, the last guy that did it was a couple of years ago, and Amazon changes the rules all the time, but he sent them to a separate system that then redirected them. He had a simple URL that redirected them to the review page.
Yep.
I don't know if you can do that anymore, but
Yep. Well, I think you still can. You've just got to be a little bit careful on
you
how
just
to
have
do
to
it.
somehow give them instructions on it, whatever it takes to get to your page, give a review. You got to tell them how to do that.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Fantastic. Is there anything I've forgotten to ask you?
No, I mean, it does take lead time. If you want to do this, you got to allow me. It's not like you can call me tomorrow and have a mailing out the next day. It takes a little
Sure.
bit of time. So depends on what you want to do. We can design it from scratch,
Hmm.
or you can give me something that's ready to go. Either way, but if we have to design it from scratch, you got to allow me at least a week
Right.
to, after you give me the information to do the design, and we got to go through a round of proofing and everything.
Hmm.
Um, and the more we do, the more we're going to charge, obviously. If you give me the artwork ready to go, that's going to be cheaper than if we have to do the design.
Hmm. Do
But
you have do you have like a portal where somebody can design something like that? If I remember,
no,
no, it's all manual.
we have human being graphic designers that do it manually.
Hmm.
So, and we don't have an online ordering portal either. This is all custom work. And I have found, we tried online ordering years ago, but there's so many questions involved with printing. We end up spending all this time with people anyway on the phone
Yep.
because most people don't really understand it. They don't know what to do. So
Hmm.
we just don't do it anymore. We handhold people through the process. We make sure it gets done right. We help you
Hmm.
not only with the printing and the mailing, but to develop the marketing campaign ideas and all that kind of stuff. I
Strategies.
mean,
Yep.
that's what we do. So
Hmm.
and I do that for customers in all different kinds of industries. I've
Hmm.
been doing it for a long time. So I'm pretty good at creating marketing pieces that work. But I
Yep.
can't guarantee it. I mean,
No, of
you
course.
never know till you put it out there.
Sure, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, as I said, I think as an overall strategy, as part of a customer care and a customer, touch piece campaign, I think it would be an awesome addition for anybody who's genuinely building a brand, which is what I hope. If you're listening to this podcast, I hope that's what you're doing.
Right.
Because I
Right.
think that's really the way to go. And as you said before, Jeff, you're adding value to your business. So if you are building your brand for an exit, it's also a great strategy. So thank you.
All right.
That's been really awesome. And hopefully I'll put all your contact information in the show notes or below this video so people can find you. And hopefully somebody will contact you and we'll go from
Well,
there.
and there is one other point. We only mail in the United States, so it's
Yes.
not going to work in Australia or in
No.
Europe or anything like that. So, but if
Yeah.
you have customers in the United States, then we mail to the United States. That's the
Yeah.
limitation.
That's very clear. So yes, we're
Yes.
talking with the United States,
Yep.
and if somebody wants to try this in other locales, I'm sure there are mailing houses that can do it. But said I
Right.
wanted to talk to you as part of like a general marketing strategy. So
Right.
thank you.
Okay. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye, Jeff. Oops, hang on.
All right. So now we're not live.